JJ Spaun is your new US Open champion. I am Niall McGrath. This is the forecast. Welcome in. Lots to get through. Big week on the PGA Tour coming up. The Travelers Championship gets underway now. It's currently underway now. Sorry for the delay. And before we get started, I know it's supposed to go live last Sunday, but MacBook Pro coffee spillage, absolute disaster on Friday. I thought I'd have it back. There is the proof. If that focuses in a little bit, there's the proof of cost me 150 quid to get a fix. Absolute disaster. So yeah, that was the issue there last weekend. But what a weekend! Unbelievable stuff. We spoke about it last week. How tough it was going to be, and you know, it played killer. Unbelievable stuff. And listen, real big credit where credit is due to JJ Spaun for getting over the line, especially after that Players Championship at Sawgrass. Took a lot from that, obviously learned from that, and got over the line. It was actually pretty remarkable considering that he did shoot 40 on the front nine on Sunday before the rain break or the weather break, which was just incredible. Obviously he reset after that, and to sink that putt in 18 was just pretty phenomenal. Kudos to him. Really likable guy in my opinion. I see a lot of people moaning going, oh, you know, it's not good to see him. It is good to see him win. I think it shows you how strong the game of golf is at the moment on a world stage, in terms of you've guys literally that can win any week on tour. Another first-time major winner over the last 20 years. I'd like to see the stats on that. Phenomenal stuff from him. Well done to him. A lot of stuff up on the YouTube channel as well there in terms of interviews from this week. You can see there Jordan Spieth, Ben Griffin, US Open champion JJ Spaun, Rory McIlroy. So do go check them out. Do like, subscribe. Does help the channel. That's greatly appreciated. So yeah, just want to talk about a few things. Obviously the US Open last week, and then we're going to get into the picks for the Travelers Championship, which is already underway at TPC River Highlands this week. First of all, let's just take a look at the total leaderboard from last week, because it was some unbelievable stuff, and I'll probably forget something here if I don't pull this up. Really, really good leaderboard in my opinion. Rob McIntyre, phenomenal final couple of rounds, 200 in his last round. I actually thought when he went into the clubhouse with that 1-over lead that he was going to win. And listen, to tell you one prediction I did get this week, Russell Henley. Oh, if he'd only sank that putt the last, but if he did back top 10 places, you would have got Russell at a really juicy price, 90 to 1. I think he was pretty annoyed with what happened in the last. He put it past the green. He was sort of pin high at the back, sort of that rough, obviously really tough. Chipped it down sort of halfway and then missed the 5-6 footer for the par. But what a performance from ever consistent Russell Henley there, that would have gotten you a few quid back. We did speak about obviously John Rahm there last week, him and Bryson. I did sort of suggest that Bryson might miss the cut. McIlroy we did say would probably miss the cut, just about got over the line there. But John Rahm, Carlos Ortiz, what a performance from him as well over the weekend. Tyrrell Hatton, thereabouts again. But you got to look at Sam Burns. Like, what was that all about in terms of the two officials not giving him the drop? That totally fucked him up from the leaderboard. Oh, cursing again. But it was absolutely ridiculous. He was in a swimming pool on the fairway, and they're not giving him a drop. You could see the close-ups of the shot that the ball was just literally taking the water. No ball on that whatsoever. So like crazy decision. I'm sure he was raging. I know we saw Wyndham Clark kick the locker after his round, but I'm sure Sam Burns was in possibly the same as that. Obviously just speculation, but he must have been in serious bad form with the officials after that. Crazy decision. Screwed up his round. Totally lost the head after that shot. I think he bogeyed that hole or double bogeyed that hole, but mental stuff. You can see the pictures online of where the divot was and the water was around. Absolutely nonsense stuff. Victor Hovland knocking around there as well all weekend. Good performance. Never really got going in that final round, like so many, because the conditions were just so tough. But some really good stuff. Sander Schauffele, as we said, another top 10, another top 15 finish at a US Open, and definitely trending again in the right direction. We'll speak about him in a few minutes. I think he could definitely go out and win this week at TPC River Highlands. And then, of course, there was obviously Rory McIlroy to talk about. lovely final round. He got the better of the weather in the morning time at 67. But again, after the round, we heard that he slammed the media. Very frustrated with the media again for whatever reason. But look at some of the behaviour again in the course, and I'm not going to just shit him ever, but this goes for Christ right across the board. This goes for uh, Wyndham Clark, Shane Lowry, Rory McIlroy. To go out and destroy a tee box when you're on a hole on a golf course is just totally unacceptable in my behaviour. Snap your club, and no problem with that. Hit your bag, do all that. Break your own equipment, but don't screw up the course for anyone else. We saw that with the tee box. You saw that with the flinging the club, like petulance behaviour yet again. And then he comes in after the round and says, "Oh, it's the media's fault. All this." I don't understand. In terms of the non-conforming driver, and he was very frustrated about that. The news getting out, and he blamed the media for leaking it. But you don't blame the media for leaking that. You blame the PGA Tour, whoever's on the PGA Tour that has given the media that information, if it is confidential, which it is supposed to be. So I'm not really sure why he's having a pop at the media here, because clearly that was given to the media by someone on the PGA Tour. So his gripe should be with the PGA Tour instead of the media. He's not, the guy's flip-flopped on live for years. If there is personal problems going on, I don't think you should really take that out in the media, because I think, and I do kind of agree. There was a lot of posts on the Rory McIlroy video from yesterday from the Travellers, and he was much better form. You could see that. And yeah, some of the questions are really shit in those press conferences. They're rubbish questions. But I think he should have been quizzed a little bit more. There should have been some more hardball questions aimed at him in terms of that, what I've just spoken about. Why are you blaming the media? Ask for reasons and things like that. In my opinion, more petulant behaviour. And, we saw yesterday that he was in much better form. And also we said last week about his motivation, all that. And I'm sure, it is very hard. He's reached the pinnacle of golf, and then to wake up the next morning, he's going to have to find that spark of motivation to get him back in the mix. I don't like him here this week at TPC River Highlands. Doesn't have a great record around there. He's always done okay around there. Nothing that stands out of the ordinary or anything special. So that's going to be interesting to see how he fares this week. But yeah, I think, Rory talked 2 weeks ago about it being a two-way relationship with the media. And if you want to build on that relationship, like you said, you don't go out in a press conference and just slam the media and start arguing with us guys, telling he's frustrated with us without giving a reason. So, these questions have to be asked when they become available to the public, and talk to the non-conforming drivers. Scotty was asked the question. He came out directly after that, the USPGA Championship, and cleared up in 5 minutes. Rory could have done the same, but he decided not to talk to the media. So I think we'll draw a line in it there, but that's my opinions on that whole incident at the weekend with Rory McIlroy and Wyndham Clark as well. Just that kind of behaviour, I'm sure it does happen in the locker rooms more often than we're made aware of, but it's just not acceptable in my opinion. But I really take issue, as I've said, when someone is on a golf course and they start smashing up the golf course, throwing their clubs around. Snap your club all you want. Don't be breaking tee boxes. Don't be digging up the ground like we saw Shane Lowry do a few weeks ago. It's not a lot of players do it. They need to get out of their game. We've seen Tyrrell Hatton do it last weekend as well. I'm not just picking on Rory McIlroy here. I just think it's a bad example for anyone. You see these videos of social media lads hacking up greens and shit. It's disgraceful. It's pathetic. If some randomer is doing it on a golf course, they should be just banned. Just get out. You can't hack up a golf course with your golf clubs, or start flinging your golf clubs around. You'll injure someone ultimately. So that's my opinion on it. But yeah, listen, great week at the US Open. I loved it. I think we need a challenge like that every year. So tough, so difficult. Most of the players embraced it. It was just a really good week, and I thoroughly enjoyed it anyway. I saw some people complaining about it, but I don't get it. We're back to a shootout this week. I don't mind if it just sort of balances itself out a little bit more, but we do have too many shootouts on tour, so it's just great to see that element of it being so tough and so relentless in the players. And congratulations to JJ Spaun. So let's have a little potter around to the leaderboard again. Scotty down in tied 7th. Never weird one again from Scotty. Never really played his best golf, but he's still up there, knocking on the door. what a competitor. He could go again. He'd win this week. He's defending, obviously, at the Travelers Championship. Brooks Koepka, good to see him knocking up around there as well. Rasmus Norgard Peterson and Thurston Lawrence played some really, really good stuff. Rory finished tied 19th, and it just shows you how demanding it was after that the 67 round. But fair play to that final round from Mr. McIlroy. Okay, let's get on. This week it is an absolute. It's going to be very, very interesting this week to see who's going to be in the mix, because I feel as though we might have one of these situations where some guys might have a little bit of a hangover from last weekend. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, when it's such a stressful week, physically and psychologically, there's guys that are going to be sort of burnt out mentally and physically and tired and all this. And I think we could be looking at a situation here where we could get someone who was sort of in the mix, but never sort of really knocking on the door last weekend winning. We could have an outsider this week. I don't think so, but I'm looking at some of the names I've listed there. And the one again, listen, we're going to go back to it again. It has to be Xander Schauffele for me. Another really solid performance. Why is that stuck now? It doesn't want to move for me. Hang on. Oh, lots of messing around here. Why is that gone? That has missed it. Okay, Xander Schauffele for me. I think this week is a good pick. We look at the, gaining shots again from prior weeks. Really good stuff. Tied 12th, tied 25th, tied 28th. It's again, we can bring it back to this. I was very hot on him last week, but he didn't ultimately get over the line. But when you're constantly knocking on the door, it's very similar to what we said about Scotty Scheffler when he came back from his injury, the hand injury. It's about literally getting up to that level, getting yourself in contention and getting over the line. Everything is trending in the right direction here for Xander Schauffele. So I'm big on him this weekend, 22-1. He's not out later on this afternoon, so you can still have a little play in him if you want. I really like him this week. He's won here in 2022 as well. Some fine stats, which would lead me to really have a nice punt on him again this week. Disappointing last week to finish in top 10 because he would have got an each way. I had a few lids on him. But I really do like what I see. Again, if we look at some of the stats here from Data Golf, great website. Scotty Scheffler, obviously feeling up in terms of where he lies at the moment. Here's Xander's stats coming up now in terms of what was he off the green last week. Yeah, look, again, like everywhere in his game at the US Open, he's plus 2.61. Total shots gained on the field last week. I like it. I think that tied 12 is going to turn into a win very, very soon because he is far too good not to go a season without winning. And I do generally believe this week, even maybe at the Open Championship, could do it again, defend his title. He's training really well at the right time. So very promising signs for Xander Schauffele going into this week at TPC River Highlands. Also, Sepp Straka, really disappointing week last week. I think this course really does suit him. Missed the cut, but look at that. He's won the Truist Championship, goes out to the SPGA, misses the cut. The Memorial finishes third and then misses the cut at the US Open. It's a lot like Shane Lowry's season this season for Sepp Straka, playing really well in the signature events and the regular PGA Tour events, but getting over the line, or performing, should I say, at major championships has been a real struggle for him on those two courses. So yeah, I do like him. I think this course, as I said, really does suit him. It's going to be very interesting to see how he performs this week, bounces back. And I think the guys who obviously missed the cut going to be a lot fresher going into this week. They didn't have to play the Saturday and Sunday. He's one of them. And I think he could be really knocking on the door as well. And if you look at this kind of course at TPC River Highlands, there's 71 players in the field, no cut events. It's one of those courses. It's probably a little like Harbour Town in terms of scoring, the setup. It's a precision course. So that's why you like some like a birdie average. It's going to be high scoring here this week, or low scoring here this week. We heard Ben Griffin. It's on the channel. Do subscribe, like, share, all that. We heard Ben Griffin speak about that he reckons there could be a record here this year because he reckons the course is playing easy. He played 9 holes yesterday, and he thinks there's going to be a lot of birdies. And early on, we do, as you see there, Bud Cauley, Davis Riley, I think, is leading. Last time I saw, but he was leading on 4 under. So yeah, I kind of agree with that it's going to be very low scoring week this week. And if you look at Sepp Straka, he's second on tour and birdie average, third in strokes gained, tee to green. I would be having a play at him at a very nice price, as you see there on the bottom. I think it's 35 you'll get him at, Sepp Straka, before he goes out. Also, I do like each ways. I think Cam Young might be worth a little tickle here as well. You probably get him, I think he's around this, what is he? He's the same as Sepp Straka, so 35s up to 40s probably on the exchange. 2 tied fourths in a row. Really impressed me as well. I watched that bloody nerd stuff. I watched the US Open qualifiers as well. He won that 7-man playoff that Max Homa and Ricky Fowler were in, and he's just looked really, really good in the last few weeks. I do want to, like, everyone goes on about how much of a good putter he is. I don't buy that. I think when push comes to shove, he misses too many putts. Maybe it's mentally up there, but again, I do like that for an each way bet this week. But Straka and Schauffele for me are definitely the ones I'm liking to go best this week out of the field. I'm going to throw Justin Thomas in there, and solely, like, obviously we said it last week, he wasn't going to make the cut. I was convinced that Oakmont just does not suit his setup. Obviously a little bit flaky since winning at the RBC Heritage, but this course, as I said, again, it's going to be one of those courses where it's not as penal when you miss. You can miss and still get up and down with your irons. There's going to be lots of birdies. I think it's going to suit Justin Thomas here this week. Truist Championship, he was second as well. In Valspar, again, second. You know, it's one of those precision play courses, and I think it will suit him this week. He was never going to perform well at Oakmont. I just don't think the course suits him at all. We mentioned that. Also, Jordan Spieth, again, trending in the right direction. Tied 23rd last week, tied 17th, tied 36th. Again, each way I would go with Jordan here. I think he's going to be up knocking the door. And if you listen to the press conference, it was great to see that he's played, I think, 7 of the last 7 weeks, this will be. And he just seems to be so happy about his game. He seems to be so much more in control of what he's doing on the golf course since getting the surgery from that injury. So I'm liking what I'm seeing with Jordan. I like the attitude. I think he's targeted a win. He wants to get to East Lake, he said, by the season's end, and to get into that Tour Championship. He's arguably, well, he's definitely had a better season than he's had last year after getting that surgery. So kudos to him and what he's doing. I think that's a nice each way bet. You'll definitely get 50s with Jordan Spieth. Yeah, you will. And he is definitely on my list for an each way. Russell Henley, again, I just probably have him outside of his consistency. Has just been incredible this year, bar the USPG Championship. He missed the cut. Or last 5, RBC Heritage tied 8th, then Truist Championship tied 46th, missed cut, tied 5th, tied 10th. He's going to be up there, thereabouts, I reckon, this weekend. And playing really solid golf at the moment, the world number 6. So you will get him on the 35-1 button as well. I do like that as an each way punt this weekend for Russell Henley. So consistent. And another one I really do like as well, Keegan Bradley. I know we had him last week, fell off a little bit in the end, tied 33rd, but before that tied 7th, tied 8th, tied 30th, tied 18th, the RBC Heritage, in some really solid, consistent form. Loves this golf course. He's on the YouTube channel again in the press conference we have up. Loves this course. Spoke about it's one of his favorite courses on tour, and he tends to go well on the shootouts. You know, he's a very streaky player, and when his form is good like this, if you just start dropping a few putts on an easier track, he's going to be in the mix, in my opinion. Come Sunday in here, you'll get him at what is the price? 40s. You'll get him at best price I've seen around there. So definitely on my list for this week in Connecticut. Also, this is one of the best kind of outside bets, I reckon, this week. He's already won once in the tour this season. Has a really, really strong record. Just let me pull that up there. I'm getting to it now. Brian Harman. He's gone tied 9, tied 2nd, tied 8, tied 5th, tied 8, tied 6 on this course since 2018. 90-1. I think it says it all there. It's horses for courses type track. Loves this setup here. I really like that, to be honest with you, for Brian Harman, in my opinion. I think it's definitely a tasty each way one to have on this weekend heading in. I really do like this. People are going to moan. It's actually nice. It's refreshing. It's chilled out. I know I'm not one for the big shootouts. I think it's be way harder tests on tour throughout the year. But I think it's nice after a really hard tournament just to let the lads go out and chill out and have a lower scoring course where they can just sort of chill and not be so uptight. There was a lot of stress last week and huge amount of the players, obviously the magnitude of the event. But I just like to see that, bounce back with an easier type track where we might see a lot of birdies. It's just a little bit more, it's a nice balance, should I say, not more fun, a nice balance after a really, really tough week. As Scotty Scheffler said exactly the same thing on his press conference, which is on the YouTube channel if you want to go check it out. Do like, subscribe, share, all that. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at NiallMcGrath4. And yeah, that is I'm not going to stick around too long this week because the action's already underway. So the early leader is Davis Riley, 3 under through 8 holes. Bud Cauley having a great season after, really unbelievable story there from Bud Cauley. Went back after that car accident, and he's knocking around there constantly at the moment. So fair play to him for what he's done coming back in his career. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good value this week on the lines at TPC River Highlands, and I'm definitely looking towards Xander this week. I know I said it last week, I wasn't too far off, but I just really like what I'm seeing in terms of shots gained, strokes gained, all that. Every week it's improving. And we did mention again how similar it is to the Scotty Scheffler situation. So I am liking it. Also, wait, I tell you, I forgot to say this. Guess where I played last week? I played Portmarnock Golf Club last week. I was lucky enough to get out there and play Portmarnock. Bucket list moments. Hopefully I'm going to get out there again soon. Here's my shot. What do you think, guys? Comments, all that rubbish. You think it's any use? That was a nice shot. I got that. I actually I parred 3 holes. I parred that hole. I was up on the back there. Can I get the telestrator up? Can I get it up? I hit it up towards the back, up around that direction right there. So straight in front of the bunker, you see where the mouse is there. Landing on top, chip down, and then I put it in. But what a beautiful track. Absolutely phenomenal golf course. And tasty. I've heard rumours now about when the Open's going to be there. The word is 2032 or 3, I believe. And what a track it's going to be. It's absolutely sensational course. Loved every minute of it. Hit some decent shots and hit some like playing in that wind, man. Hitting the ball, it was 30 kilometers per hour. The ball just goes up in the air and doesn't come back. It's seriously difficult golf to play on that track. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Had to throw that in there. So yeah, numbers and videos are doing great. As I said to you, really sorry about last weekend. I really wanted to come on Sunday. Had it all scheduled to go, and then I go spilling coffee on the Mac. So there was loads of stuff restricting me last weekend. So I was hit off. So, if we've any of the boys in the mix on Sunday, we might do something on Sunday. I know I keep saying it, but we've had a little bit of technical misfortune lately. So yeah, enjoy the golf this weekend. There's lots happening. Hopefully we can get something back. I've tended to do quite well. I've had pretty crap year at the majors, I'm not going to lie. But if people on Twitter, you'll see we've had, and the shows we've done here, we've had pretty good success on the PGA Tour, the regular tour events. And I think we're going to keep going this weekend here. I think we're going to get a winner this weekend. I'm really positive with that. But yeah, it's been a good year outside the majors, but the majors have been pretty crap, but it's been pretty tough. Well, obviously last weekend was a really tough track. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, from Niall McGrath, it is. Good luck and good night. Enjoy the weekend, guys. Enjoy the golf.
All right.